Hi, my name is Garrett Ford, and this is my Faith and Learning project. It's going to be a statistical summary of a general social survey, or a GSS, from some participants of a church. It's going to answer questions. It's going to show us some data from questions about beliefs in the Bible. It's going to show some demographic data such as age, race, education, and it's going to show a bunch of information that we found on donations from these church attendees and survey responders that we put out. So in this analysis, we focused on data related to belief in the Bible and donations to the church. So basically what happened is the survey participants answered a question about their belief in the Bible, which had 4 possible responses, which I'll get into. And then we also looked at variables such as race, gender, education, and donation amount. So here was our first question about the Bible belief. We call it the Bible belief question. We can see the breakdown of responses here. So 1 is the Bible is the actual word of God and is to be taken literally. 2 is going to be the Bible is the inspired word of God again, but not everything is to be taken literally. 3, the Bible is a book of ancient fables. And 4, the Bible is from another origin but recorded by men. So we can see here the breakdown of how each participant answered and then the frequency of that there. So that gives a pretty good view of how people responded, but for more context, we'll go ahead and go to this pie graph. It kind of puts it in an easier view to see how it's more of a visual representation of how people responded. So as you can see, red is pretty dominant, followed by blue. And then I didn't mention it in the last slide because it's easier to mention here. This purple section is going to be people that left the question blank, so they didn't give a response. That's going to be that purple right there. And again, it lines up the percentages for you of how many people voted for each response. Okay, so next we started our summary of categorical variables. So the first variable we had was race. Our first race is going to be, I believe, Yeah, so our first race is Caucasian or white. Our second is black. And our third is other. So as you can see, our participants were mostly white. This shouldn't really have any effect on any of the results. It's just kind of grouping to show what variables we did have and what demographic each participant was in. Our second one here is gender or sex. 1 is going to be male and 2 is going to be female. So you can see we had a little bit more, about 5% more females than male. Here's our second categorical variables. We have age and degree. So age we did group into ranges of 10. So you can see most of it is middle age, about 20 to 50. That's our range right there, with the majority by a little bit being the 30 to 40 range with about 21% here. Degree is just how far they got in the education system. So 0 is going to be no degree, 1 high school, 2 college, 3 bachelor's degree, and 4 is unknown. So most of them completed high school, and then basically half completed high school, and then a good chunk here completed college or got a bachelor's. So that is a good indication of what participants we have here as well. Again, shouldn't have too much. I'd say this one could have a solid effect on what our results are, but not so much the last two, but both of these could. Okay, next. We have a belief and gender table here. So our top column, or our top row, excuse me, is going to be gender, and here is our beliefs, and it's the same beliefs we already had. We just numbered them again. And then each of these boxes is going to tell us a combination of where it's at in the chart. So this 55 is going to be male that chose option 1 on the Bible belief question. This one here, this 63, is females that chose number 1 on the Bible belief question, and so on. And then we'll have totals for each, and as you can see, our total at the bottom is 415. So a couple things we derived from this is we have a 0.133 probability, or a 13.3% chance that our surveyant is male and believes the Bible is the actual Word of God to be taken literally, which is this. So 55 out of 415 are male and chose option number 1. And then 20%, or 0.2 probability, is a chance that the participant selected is a female and believes that the Bible is the inspired Word of God, but not everything in it is to be taken as literal. So that's going to be this box here, because that was our second option. So that's going to be 83 out of the 415, which is 20%. Now we're going to move on to our donation statistics. So as you can see here by this dot plot and our summary statistics, we can see the median, mean, variance, standard deviation, and standard error here, which are all very good statistics to show for donation. So our mean donation amount is $1,021 and a little bit of change. And our median, which would be the number right in the middle, is going to be $815. Then you can see by this box plot, we have a lot in the 0 or lower than 2,000. That's going to be the majority of our data here. And then that average is going to be inflated a little bit because of these large donations out here, these outliers. So those are really going to boost that average number up. That's why it's a little bit higher than maybe you would think based on all are in here. But you can really see how much of the population for this survey is congested into this area, about 0 to 2,300 or so. Okay, so we also had a confidence interval for that. You can see our mean, our lower limit, and our upper limit of the confidence interval here. So based on the sample data, the 95% confidence interval for the average donation of participants is $917.20, and it's going to be between that and $1,125.40, meaning that we are 95% confident that the true average donation lies within this range. So our average that we calculated on the last slide, we are 95% sure that it is within this range right here. So we also went ahead and figured out the probability of donations. So we assumed that the participant is donating about 70% of the time, or 70% of the participants in the survey are donating. So we then calculated the likelihood for you guys that at least 9 out of 10 surveyed participants will donate in a given year based on this 70%. So this can be shown through a binomial distribution model, which is shown right here. So as you can see, the odds that 7 out of 10 people donate is pretty good. it's the highest one, and then it's pretty normally distributed after that, so we can see it goes gradually down here and goes gradually down on this side, but odds are it's going to be about seven participants donating in a given year. We also grouped some data by age. This is just a standard box plot that shows the spread of ages in the sample, and then we also have a 5-number summary for this data. So we have the lowest, the first quartile, the average, the median, or the second quartile, the third quartile, and then the highest number found. That's a general overview of our age distribution there. So now we have a little bar graph to show if the donation data is normal or not. So we can see based on this graph that the donation data is actually not normal, which you probably could have told based on this slide here. This is essentially the same thing in a bar graph format. So we can see that our peak is not in the center where it needs to be, and it's instead all the way over here, making our graph extremely right skewed because there's like nothing over here. Super uneven with this side, and for our data to be normal, we'd want a peak in the middle with gradually going down on each side, and we can see that is not the case here, so our donation data is not normal. So in conclusion, a couple of key findings here. We found that a majority of participants believe the Bible is the inspired Word of God, but should not be taken completely literally. Additionally, donations are not normally distributed, and they are skewed. And we can predict the likelihood of a certain number of the participants donating based on historical past data. So this is valuable information for you guys, the church board, for you guys to detail findings on demographic beliefs and income of the church currently. This could be extremely useful for you guys in future outreach and church planning. Thank you.